With the basic warped wall technique, there's a couple of different things I like to focus on. One is having a safe way to get down if I don't make the grab. The safer, the more comfortable I am on the way down means the more comfortable I will be letting myself go higher. The other thing that I like to focus on is the actual run-up and the setup of the run-up. With the warp wall, the first basic thing I talk about is having a safe way to get down. With the warp wall, what I always say is that you don't want to turn and run down. You don't want to turn and slide down. You don't want to turn and jump off. Basically, you don't want to turn. You want to stay facing the wall. A couple different reasons for this. If I'm going for the top and I'm reaching for the top, if I am used to turning to save myself when I'm not sure whether or not I'm gonna get it, I start to pull myself away from the top, which is actually gonna make my success rate less. Plus, it's a little more dangerous having to control and run down. When we talk about that safe slide down, what we're referring to is sliding down on our hands and feet in that all fours table position, in that same all fours position where my knees are bent at a 90-degree angle. I'm on my hands and my feet. I don't want to slide on my body. I don't want to slide on my clothing. In control, hands and feet, sliding down from that position. If I'm going for the top and I just barely miss, I'm already in that table position to slide down nice and safe. So not only am I in a better position of success to get the top of the wall, but I'm just going right into that position, so it's a smooth transition into that slide down. With that table position, really making sure to bend those knees. Don't keep your legs straight. It'll make it harder to slide down. The more comfortable I get with that safe slide down, the more I'm gonna let myself get higher because I know that I'm safe on the way down. Having as many fail-safes or bails in your toolbox as you can to keep safe allows you to move on to harder progressions, more advanced skills, more advanced challenges. The other aspect of the warp wall that I like to talk about is that run-up. With this particular wall, one of the things I like to talk about is that you want to be as close to the warp wall as possible while not on the warp wall, so that your first step on the warp wall is higher, but also on your way up. If I'm back here and my first step on the wall is low, not only is it lower, but I'm kind of on my way down when I hit the wall, and I'm hitting the wall where it starts to warp, which can be awkward on my steps. If I'm able to get nice and close, and again with this wall, we have this regular colored wood piece that kind of symbolizes that transition of flat surface as it starts to warp. So the closer I am with this wall to this regular colored piece of wood, the higher and the more up I'm going to start to create on the warp wall. I don't want to run into the wall, but I also don't want to just lean back. I want to think about my shoulders reacting or responding to my hips. When I run, my shoulders are directly over my hips. I'm not here, I'm not here. So what I want to think about is that my shoulders follow my hips. So as I go to put a foot on the wall, I don't go here and I don't go here. It's more just that natural following of shoulders on hips as if I'm running up the wall, not into the wall. Some of the things I'll see is that running into the wall and you hit here. And this is a compressed hip, which isn't gonna be as powerful, but also isn't the typical position that we run in. Again, I don't want to open my hips so much that I'm leaning back. I wanna get comfortable with just my shoulders following my hip as I go to run up the wall, not into it or awkwardly leaning backwards. The more comfortable I can get with this initial transition from flat to warp, the easier the warp wall run is going to be. The higher I get that initial step, the higher, the closer I am to the top. So if I can start my initial step higher, I'm already closer to the top. The other aspect, again, like I said, if you go from flat to warp and I'm leaning forward and I hit low, I'm kind of in this awkward position in my hip, but also in my lower leg and Achilles. I don't want to risk hurting that Achilles, possibly tearing that Achilles tendon. I always want to have that active foot on the wall. It's the ball of my foot. Talk about it with the kids. It's that same part of the foot that we warm up our bouncing with. So nice active ankles. When I'm on this, it's that same aspect of the ball of my foot. Nice active foot is going to protect that Achilles tendon. I don't want to get stuck flat-footed here, extended. And a lot of times that happens because people are looking at the top. They see the top, they look up there, and this wall comes up on them quickly, and they're in this position of possible injury within that Achilles. That's the importance of getting comfortable with this run up. Again, making sure that I'm on my way up, shoulders following hips, active foot, nice high step on the wall, running up the wall as opposed to kind of coming down on it and having this awkward lower body position, possibly risking injury there in the Achilles, but also having a lower step on the wall. Once you are comfortable and have the skill of that safe slide down, the next piece you really want to focus on is this run up piece and running it multiple times without even worrying about getting the top. The more comfortable, the more consistent I can be with always having my foot exactly where I need it, no matter where I run from. As I start to become more comfortable with that run up, as I'm moving up the wall, not worrying about grabbing the top, I want to focus on getting 3-4 steps on the wall and then going into that nice safe slide down. Practicing getting nice and close, 1, 2, 3, repping this, drilling this. The more comfortable I get with this, the easier it's going to be to progress and start to look at getting the top or adding a jump to then get to the top.